Okay, continuing now. We finished the ice. Yeah. But Pisembo from Girdling Yamatsu, we did that also. Yeah. We started the ches. So he's explaining why, he's answering now why the matzah that we eat is the Chal Avasan about the Mitzrayim. There's lechem eini and there's matzah ashira. So lechem eini has no isnasis, does not expand, does not rise, and has no taste. And matzah ashira does rise, and it's not chometz, can be eaten on Pesach, but you're not yotze matzah, and it has taste. And the two things, taste, rise or not rise, are interconnected. Let's start from that again, number 86 in the text. If the person does not have, is not, isnasus, self-assertion, doesn't have to have a justification for everything. He does his avodah in the way of iskafia and bittul. So when you're lechem oini, so therefore, because he doesn't need tam, therefore, or the other way around, because he's not bisnasus, it doesn't need the tam, and that's taste, and that is poor man's bread. That's what we have to eat. Mashenkin matzah shira, matzah shira, on the contrary, is a more elevated state where the person is transformed. We did all this, yeah. And he has taste and feeling and understanding. It's these four things it's made with: wine, or oil, or honey, or milk, and these refer to the following: that shemen is and dvash, shemen and yayin and shemen is chachma and bina, and dvash and chalav, milk and honey, we explained was chesed and gevura that come from das. That's why Eretz described as a land of flowing milk and honey. Flowing, as we explained, from Chachma and Bina and the primary midas. So once pointed out some, I don't know how accurate it is, but the boundaries of the land of Eretz Yisrael make a face, a profile. Makes sense. It's the head, the pnimius of the world. So that's what the Seichel, the midas, Moyach Das, everything is present. Veheinif, continuing now by after the square bracket, Shematzah Shira Meirer al his hapchos hamidus. So rich matzah is the transformation of the midas. It's a high madrega, the gili ameichin, through bringing to bear maturity, intellect, as we explained before. So he's saying the mile of it all. It doesn't sour because he's a refined person. It's a pleasure to be around. He's transformed his midas. He's a true mensch. So that's the might of matzah shira, but the fact is, not yotze. It's not the mitzvah. That's not the commandment. Baruchnius, but Pnimius is a big shaila. L'chayra matzah shira should be the goal, not matzah, not lechem oini. Even though we're saying this is the great mile of matzah shira, this is a refined, elevated, mature person. He's transformed his midas. Ala matzah the lechem over the poor man's bread. He is unrefined and he's just in a state of of bending himself literally to the will of God. One does not fulfill his obligation other than with lechem oini. What's the point of lechem oini? Is that it could become chometz, but doesn't. If it can't become chometz and not yotze, it has to become chometz, and that's the 5 grains dafke. Dafke, that's the whole point of it. He wants to. He's not refined, but he restrains himself. But he's pulled in that direction. Dafke bitl diskafia. Because it's dafke the bitl of iskafi. Sheboifin shall yitziyah b'mitzius. He's going out of his mitzias. His mitzias is a shtik chometz, but he's breaking himself. So that's dafka. It's ma'eru mamshich es abligvul shelamayla. That is the precursor, and it's already connected. He said earlier to the avodah b'chol ma'itcha, and already there the inyan of matan Torah nafsheka falakeltia, and then only psachli b'bezeresech. So this is he says now this is already connected to that original breaking of self, that bittul, is already similar to the great Ava, which is beyond transformation of the self. That's B'chol has been addressing the last few days. That's Yitzias Mitzrayim. Truly, it's in the B'chol Ma'itcha. There's Yitzias Mitzrayim already in the Lechem Oini. What Mitzrayim is it going out of? Pasha the Mitzrayim of an unrefined person. What's the Mitzrayim is going out of by B'chol Ma'itcha? Mm-hmm.
The whole concept of self.
Even self, the Kedusha. Even a holy self. Right. However, Kivin Shadayin said the Beifin Shal Iskafia Bava, but at the beginning of Aveda, it's only Iskafia. Again, he is drawn to Chometz, to become Chometz. If they don't stop pummeling himself, he's going to turn into Chometz. So Veloiba Adayin, the beginning is Yisabch, he hasn't come to Yisabch. Yisabcha Midis Rois, he has not transformed his bad Midis, his miserable Midis. Ella Nisha Betalk from is in the full force of his selfishness. So that's why we say, hey, Lachman Yedach. Let's get answer the question now. That all of a sudden about the Mitzrayim, because he's in Mitzrayim. This is the bed of affliction that they ate in Mitzrayim because he's in Mitzrayim. That they were still in Meretz Mitzrayim. First, he's talking about the matzav there. Then they were still in Mitzrayim. They were in the matzav of Rav, evil, tumah, and impurity. Elo shoyetzim abidl diskafia. But what was the iskafia? The iskafia is they didn't want to really leave. They just went. They overrode, denied what they were really feeling, like most 80%, and did not go. They did. So it's iskafia. Shina yitzim mitziyusam. They went, was contrary to their instinct. Then what would be crazy going out to a desert and commandments? Life is wonderful. Life is beautiful now. And in that surrender to Moishe Rabbeinu, okay, we're going, and they went. So this is Mamshech the Gilu B'chinas HaBligvul Shalamayla. Already then in Mitzrayim, they connected to the Bligvul. They went beyond self. They touched the Eibishter beyond creator, beyond Ishtalshalos. Beifin Shel Yitzim Mikol HaMatzad Magvul. Already there, in essence, is they connected to going out of all Mitzad Magvulim, which are then developed and be expressed in the Avodah B'Yisapcha, and then finally B'chol Ma'itcha. V'nimtza, what does it come out? Change the Tzias Mitzrayim. So the Inyan of Tzias Mitzrayim Mitzrayim, Mikol HaMitzad Magvul Shadei Avarah B'chol Ma'itcha. Yitzias Mitzrayim, we said, is all limitations, not just limitations of Nefesh Bahamis, but even the limitations of the Nefesh Alikis, B'chol Levavcha, to reach where B'chol Ma'itcha. So he's saying it comes out that Nasa Etzem, they are Matzah Lechem Veinish Ocha B'Yosem Beretz Mitzrayim. Already that Nekuda, about his gain for Zich, of going out of self, was already there in Lechem Veinish, in Eretz Mitzrayim. It's two big kedushim here that he's revealing. I mean, yesterday was a very good thing just by physically eating the matzah and physically counting the omer. We're connected to all these inyanim. Everyone. Now we're saying that already by Yitzias Mitzrayim, because of the Maila of Iskafia, it's a bligvul connection, simply because he went contrary to his own feeling. So therefore, it's already connected to the highest madregas of Achon Ba'itcha, the tachlis of Yitzias Mitzrayim. B'zeh ma'ashlem b'kosav, and therefore the pasuk says, this is what it says: Lechem oini. This is Parshas Rei. With the eat lechem oini ki b'chipaza yatzosa mimitzrayim. You went out in haste. What's the haste? They had to run from the Yetzer Hara because they were in its clutches and almost to be strangled, like it happened to the majority. What's the haste? Because they were fleeing from evil. Because the Yetzer Hara Nefesh was in its full strength, in intensity, unrefined, no Aveda yet. The people fled. Why did they flee? They could have gone 2 hours later. What was the whole Gewalt? Not from the Mitzrayim, but from the Mitzrayim within them. There's no self-refinement. That only began later, once they got out of the polluted environment of Mitzrayim, then could begin the Aveda of self-refinement, which is a very important thing. You cannot refine yourself if you don't extract yourself first from the corrupted pattern or environment the person is in. They have to get out of Mitzrayim, and then in this protected environment in the mid with no distractions, then can begin the Aveda of refinement. But it can't happen without iskafia before. Without a big loy with an aleph, it doesn't start. The Aveda then, just leaving Mitzrayim, was pure iskafia, lechem oini, and Dafka, however, there's a zochel Yitzias Mitzrayim. That's why and how they went out of Mitzrayim. It's admire this habitl, because this is the great virtue of bitl should be skafia. Shbeifin shel Yitzim Mitzios, so he goes out of his Mitzias. There's a nimshach habligvul de lamayla. That's how he connects to the Eibush to himself. Kamayal de Ava Rabba, similar to the great Ava, which is the ultimate objective. B'chol ma'itcha kanal. So each one of these iskafias, the first and the final, has in one way is more difficult than the other, and in one way is easier. Right? And in one way it's more difficult. The first iskafia is because it is kemensh. And to break yourself, and do what is right, when you have no desire for it, so that's a big avodah. The easy part is not a mensch. It's intolerable. Can't stay like this. Got to do the right thing. At the end of the day, we want to do the right thing. So that's the easier part. The difficult, the challenge of B'chol Ma'itcha is, the difficulty is what's missing. B'chol Ma'itcha is a yid, an inspired, scholarly, seichel, midas, totally engaged, Zotmanein, the Avodah has to begin that. On the other hand, what's easier? You're already connected. You want to do what God wants. That's not a foreign agenda here. Your relationship with the Eibishter. So you're already on the path, as it were. So each one is a mile and a challenge that the other one doesn't have. Tes, hine, tes. Excuse me. In order 90, I didn't see that Maimon, but it says the Atkan is the Teichen of the Maimon that's a Tzedek. Interesting to see what the Rebbe added, but now comes the obvious addition to the Maimon that's a Tzedek. Eis Tes. It's obviously not just copy paste. But that would be a nice study to see what the nuance that the Rebbe added in explanation that's a Tzedek. Veheinif keshem shnis boilel shin amatza bitl v'skafi achana v'sinas keichlim nitzis m'sayim matan Torah. Just like we said, the inyan of matzah, which is bitl and iskafia, that's the achana, and that's what the nisinas koyach that mitzu yitzis m'sayim, and then matan, the objective matan Torah, which is what, Gilead Bligvel de la Maila Hashem revealing himself beyond creator's true self, Av she'ein arei b'neim klal. And even though they're incomparable, what's incomparable? The Gilead Bligvol, Shari Bligvol de la Maila Beinarich Klal. I mean, how is it that our Aveda elicits the Bligvol, where the infinite, when we're fundamentally limited? That's the question. Even though there's no erech, there's no comparison between the Aveda, our Bittel, our Iskafia, and the revelation of the Bligvol de la Maila. In brackets, he explains why. Shari Bligvol de la Maila Beinarich Klal. Hashem's infinite being is totally beyond Leirak Bittel Vaiskafia, the Matzah, certainly beyond the paucity of the Aveda of Bittel and Iskafia dealing with, which is Matzah, which is a me'en, the Avarabba B'chol Ma'itcha, which is only a me'en, only a shadow, a taste, a reflection of the Avarabba B'chol Ma'itcha. Certainly the Bligvul del Ma'il is beyond that. Elegam, the Avarabba B'chol Ma'itcha, even he holding the love of B'chol Ma'itcha, and Tzamalacha Nafshi, and the greatest longing and love, at the end of the day, so he's here. It's going beyond your limits, Bilvad. Even compared to the next fellow, it's a very limited Aveda, certainly compared to Lamaila. And yet the Pella is that this awakening from below does God's infinite response. Because the Mishnah says, go beyond yourself, and even though that's inherently limited, so I will go beyond me. And that's what I want you to touch me, beyond me being Ishtalshalos, the creator of the whole system. So just like it is where, so in this, get the flow again. Let's start here. Just like we said about Matzah, that is the Achron and the Sinus Kairtit, which is in Abligvol. Now continuing after the square brackets, in the bigger picture, this whole Avodah of Mitzrayim, that was taking us to Mashiach, to redemption. This is all Achron to the final redemption, even though it's going to be totally beyond Yitzias Mitzrayim, and that's the parallel. Even in the same way that what we do, Yitzias Mitzrayim elicits a bligvul, it's totally beyond. So to the whole Yitzias Mitzrayim itself elicits a bligvul of the Geula Siddur, which is also Bein Aroich. You follow the parallel, yeah? And that's the meaning that the simple pshat is, maybe it's not even, I think actually, Pashim pshat is that going, just like when they're at Mitzrayim, I'll show you wonders. So there are wonders then, I'll show you wonders now. But the other pshat is that identity flows wonders relative to Yitzias Mitzrayim. That's the pirish of the Zohar, Pri Chaim. That even though the final redemption will be wondrous compared to the Yitzias Mitzrayim, the Exodus, they're not unrelated. It's all connected. What's the preparation? And what's in the sinas koyach that brings this about? What's the empowerment for the final redemption? Dafkar all begins with Yitzias Mitzrayim. So the parallel, the model continues that the Iskafia of Yitzias Mitzrayim brings to, and that's the foundation of the Mechol Ma'itcha Matan Torah. Now he's saying that whole relationship with God is the achana for the Geula Siddur, even though that's totally beyond. Just like all the steps till now, we're connecting to that which is beyond their Avodah. As long as there is this the tnu of beyond self, that's the nakud. And I was going to explain. Binyamin said the matter is as follows, explaining what? How Yitzias Mitzrayim is the achana, and this whole Avodah of Iskafia and so on is the achana, starting with Iskafia, Pashat Iskafia, is the achana for the final redemption, even though it's totally beyond even Yitzias Mitzrayim. How is that? We do Mitzrayim Yischadesh Inyan Ikri. Yitzias Mitzrayim brought about a fundamental revolution change in existence, and that is V'psichas atzinur de geula. Yitzias Mitzrayim opened the channel to redemption. And redemption means beyond creation. Now, here the emphasis here is incomplete, true. But the opening began, and it's known, and it's appreciated. We can appreciate the greatness and the chiddush, the novelty of creating a new path, a tzinur. Ad kedei kach, so much so, this new tzinur is such a novelty that with this koyach, what? Yitzias Mitzrayim, this sets in motion, this empowers it. As a result of it, now he's now talking, I'm sorry, on a personal level, not Yitzias Mitzrayim. When a person himself, he's saying here, a person himself charts a new course, it's such a powerful thing that it can affect others as well. That they can achieve what he labored over, without effort. Because he opened up that channel and it's now available in the world. Commission with Sin, but Rabbi Pinchas ben Yoz, we learned this many times. Pinchas ben Yoz was on the way to a mitzvah pidyon shvuyim, and he said to the river, Ginoi, Nare, river, cholik mimecha, divide your waters. There was a whole dialogue there. In the end was v'cholok le'meimav. In the end, the water of this river parted and he crossed. She said, "Inyan kriyas yamsuf, it's kriyas yamsuf." Now, what's the inyan here? Because how is it possible such a thing like parting of the sea? Should be asif yachad in Moishe Rabbeinu v'shishim ribi Yisrael. That coming together was Moishe Rabbeinu with 600,000 Yidden. So for them, hoyezeh dvar pele. That was a great wonder. Lashon the Alter Rebbe, it's touted as one of the greatest miracles ever. Kosher Kriyas Yamsuf, right? And needed this east wind to blow. You see this? So it was such a dramatic and incredible moment. So he affected himself. He did it. He has this discussion with the river, and it opens up. Ella. But the answer that we're saying here, that's the gewaltige chiddush of psichas hatzinur, of opening up a channel. After that was literally broken in the world, and the sea parted, that could be done then easily, relatively speaking, through not everyone, but Pinchas ben Yair. Just derech agav, the Gemara over there says, after this story, we see from here that Pinchas ben Yair, first the Gemara says he was greater than Moishe Rabbeinu and the 600,000, this lashon of shishim ribis from the Gemara. Then the Gemara says, not greater, but equal to. But Akalponim, so what's the Rebbe Shaila here? The Gemara notes this question. It says he was equal to Moishe Rabbeinu 600,000. The Gemara doesn't answer. The Gemara actually notes this. The Gemara should have answered. No, he was able to do that because Pasach is Hatzinur, and it's a part of the question. Because even though the Rebbe's language here is from the Gemara, that the Shishim Riboy. No, the answer could just be the Gemara is just noting it, not explaining how. Just noting the fact.
Could be about him.
Huh?
Could be about him, not the episode. Meaning his greatness about Pinchas ben Yair, not necessarily with the splitting of the river. Why the splitting of the river? Because Moishe.
But that's, but to get to the context, he did something and it took Moishe over 600,000 to do. It's exactly the Shayla of the mind.
Right.
And the Gemara says, we see he's on the same level. First greater, the same level. The Gemara does not answer, he did it because of them. That should be the answer. No, he always able to do that because Pesach is at sinner, like the Maamar says. The Gemara leaves it unchallenged. It's a l'chayra. I'm just thinking about it. L'chayra, just the Gemara is not giving how he did it. It's just an objective fact. What he did took Moishe and Shishim Riba. It's a bit of a doichet because the Gemara actually says that he about his greatness. He was as equal to. I'm interpreting not he was equal to. What he did was equal to. It's not mamish in the Gemara. It's a shayla. You're not going to find an answer in the Mefarshim of the Gemara because it's only a question based on what we learned. That it is because Pasach is a tziner. Or Be'emes is still, maybe the Mefarshim do talk about it because the Gemara's question still stands. How can you say that? No matter who, he's as great as Moishe and Shishim Riba. And the Gemara leaves it like that. So we still have to end. We have to come on to this beer. Okay, tzarich in a little bit.
Deep dive.
Huh? What?
Amr is like Gemara.
You ever had it? I can't hear, sorry. What?
I think you should deep dive into it, I say.
Yeah, deep dive. It's a nice project to look into.
Disappointed.
Take a deep dive. We're talking about the Yam Suf. So take a deep dive into the Yam Suf. You'll find treasures. You do it. Now continuing this Gamma Pish Abashem the Maimar Azal. So Bashantiv explains the Gemara in Brachas. Famously says there that Hashem says, Kol ha'olam nizayin b'shvil chanina b'ni. The whole world, says the Eibishter, is sustained b'shvil in the merit of literally my child of the Chanina. Chanina b'ni. Said the Baal Shem Tov, the diaki is not b'schus but b'shvil. Now the word shvil means a path. Shvil utzina, shvil is a channel. Veheinif, because he was the Nasi Adar, it means Psichas Sinur B'Shvil Hashefa Leilam Heath. It's through him that the channel goes for all the Ashpa in the world. Actually, it's not just Amshachas L'Mayla, L'Mata, it's the Aliyas. You do the Sipur, the Rebbe said that I mean, it's the Echidus, but the Neshamas that leave the world go through this room. It's the Rebbe question, this person did not pass away. That you saw, that was written up, I got to find it somewhere. It's quite extraordinary. And it turned out that the person hadn't passed away. I mean, such a statement. There's a few times that we know that Rebbe said such, just begoloi. I won't say names, but our family. It's a long time ago. There was a couple that years not having children. I don't know how many years it was still young. Ended up having a large family, and the Rebbe said that such to the parents of the. To the parents or to them themselves, but mostly looked l'mayla, and doesn't see any reason. There's no that they're not going to have children, and they had a big family. Such ideas. I don't know exactly the words they use, but and there's a few times like Bashiduchim. It's a famous story of a bochad was in Skarav to Lubavitch, and the parents get a tashidach. Was not Lubavitch, a girl he wasn't interested in. Anyway, the parents came to 770. They're complaining to the Rebbe. You stole my kid, Lubavitch, and now you're not putting fist, not allowing a shidduch. They said, what should I do? That it's not a zivluk l'mayla. Something like that. So this is the tziner. I'm saying the tziner works both ways. Mavayer explains that the Mavayer, who's Mavayer? Baal Shem Tov. No? Well, it's a Tzedek. No, it's a Baal Shem Tov. So Shem Tov explains, this is also true in Torah learning. What is true? That a person can open a tziner and make it available for everyone. Kidu b'shem Arab Bes Yosef. The famous story of the Bes Yosef brought in the Chidah Shetorach v'yogad shebal pirish ezemayim, he toiled to understand Maimah Chazal with great labor, and finally understood it. And then the story he relates, he was walking by the Beis Medrash, or the way the story is written is, and there was a young fellow learning the Gemara, and he's learning aloud. Question such and such and such, things, and he gives the answer, which the Beis Yosef toiled over. And he, at Sur ben Merabon, a young fellow was just effortlessly, v'nitztayer, so he very, very badly. What does he feel so badly about? Because Akash is a hell of a hester. So him has a hell of a hester, and this young fellow doesn't. He's holding, where's he holding in the world? So he came to the Arizal. Mamlay Arizal, no. He was afraid that it was the whole Avodah was. Ata pasachta tziner. No, because you toiled and you understood it and you opened the channel. It's now available. So this young fellow sits and learns. It's in the world. It's in the world. It's not just true of Adin Druchnisdik in Yodam Sev, anything. Because they're all interconnected. We find the conduct of the Magid. It's from the Alter Rebbe. That what? 1 second. What are we starting here? We start 5 to okay. When he had an idea, fell into his mind, he would say it. Even if nobody was there, but he's saying it. Because he wanted to bring it down from the world of Asaga into words. It's in the world now. Take it, boys. Then someone else, he's at the other end of the world. He's sitting and learning over these, in his relationship with Hashem, if he toils in Torah, he'll grasp it too. And he wants to bring it into the world. Is already drawn into the world. It's all to say Metzias Mitzrayim. Metzias Mitzrayim opened the tziner to Geula. Notwithstanding the Geula which comes at the end is far beyond. Because of the greatness of the opening of the channel, of the channel to redemption, Metzias Mitzrayim. And it's Achana. This is the Achana. The sin is correct, and the empowerment, the Geula Hasidah, the final redemption. Shetir ben Alias Yosef ben Erech is totally beyond, but the inyan of Geula is in the world already. And that's forever. Be'ez Hashem continue tomorrow. At what time? It's only 15 minutes earlier.
Yeshikaya, thank you very much.
Wonderful day, everybody. B'sudas Tovos.